They called the sheriff and said I was threatening joggers, while I was standing on my own land, with a drone in one hand and a cup of coffee in the other. Yeah, that happened, and if you think that's the start of a small-town misunderstanding, buckle up, because it turned into a full-blown war over dirt and dignity. Let me back up a sec. I'd spent 20 years chasing white-collar crooks for a living, digging through ledgers and lies until people who thought money hid everything got nervous. So when I sold out and bought a 320-acre ranch outside Bourne, Texas, I thought I'd traded subpoenas for sunrise, papers for pasture, and stress for a herd of longhorns that didn't care about market caps. My name is Trey Randall. The land's been in my family for generations, surveyed, GPS tagged, the kind of property you could hang your life on in court. I run drones across those pastures. I check fence posts that still have my granddad's concrete around them, and I sleep better than I have in a decade. Then 6 months ago, a subdivision sprouted on the southern boundary like a rash, cypress trails. Elite living with shared natural spaces, their signs said, and suddenly a glossy newsletter landed at my gate with a map showing my meadow highlighted as a heritage walking trail. Whoever designed it must have liked green markers, because they painted a public park over my cattle pasture. I laughed once, then kept ranching, until the day the deputies rolled up. There's nothing like seeing two cruisers kick up dust toward your internal gate at dawn to reset your day. Deputies Granger and Owens stepped out, hands resting on holsters, voice like they'd read the report and wanted to believe it. "Sir, hands where we can see them," they said, and for half a second my head filled with old instincts. I raised a hand, told them my name, handed over my ID, the deed, the GPS overlays, everything but the family Bible, and offered to land the drone to show them live coordinates. They walked the fence line with me, drone humming above like a lazy hawk, and when Owens looked at the posts that still had my granddad's initials and nodded, something in their posture eased. "Someone really screwed up," Granger said. "He promised to talk to the HOA rep. He did, but clearly that was only step one." A couple days later they were back with the same news. Anonymous calls, allegations I'd threatened trail users with a firearm, and this time the accuser showed up in person, Karen Cortortney, self-appointed queen of Cypress trails, sunglasses like shields, heels that clicked across gravel like authority. She accused me of violating community visual ordinances and blocking a historic trail that, according to her flyers, had been a public right-of-way since 1971. I told her where to go, and then I showed her the post where my granddad had formalized the fence and the 1982 county resolution that decommissioned that trail. I was calm because that's what you are when you've seen fraud before, calm, precise, annoying. That's when I realized it wasn't incompetence. It was a strategy. Karen and her crew were trying to redefine reality by making enough noise, flyers, false reports, glossy maps, so the record would look like the land belonged to the community. I've seen people manipulate narratives for profit. They hoped I'd blink. They hoped I'd pay or sell, or get pissed enough to overreact on camera. So I did something boring and effective. I recorded everything. Drone footage, GPS overlays, the phone audio of Karen calling it in, the deputy's reports, my deed, the 1982 easement termination signed by my grandfather and filed with the county clerk. I stitched it together, uploaded it under a simple title. HOA claims my ranch is public land. Watch what really happened. I didn't give speeches, didn't manufacture drama. I just presented receipts, and the internet did the rest. 12,000 views turned to 100,000, then to 1 million, and people started sending me stories. Similar scams, forged consent forms, phantom dues. But the real twist, the thing that flipped this from nasty neighbor drama to conspiracy, arrived on a thumb drive in a plain envelope, an anonymous inside tip from someone who used to work in their office. It had internal emails, spreadsheets, drafts of fake easement maps, even a target list with my parcel marked as hostile, engage compliance route. That file showed it wasn't a misunderstanding, it was a plan, manufacture consent, create a paper trail, frighten the owner, then claim the land as community space. And buried in the chain was a name, Douglas Merton, a junior county registrar, copied on drafts with notes like, "Slide it through after next update batch." The inside voice warned me, "Don't trust the cops, some are on the take." That note stung, because trust is a thing you earn when you work with law for a living. I brought the thumb drive to an old friend turned attorney, Colin, a trial lawyer who hates overreaching powers the way a dog hates mailmen. He grinned when he saw the files and said the words I like to hear. "We don't just respond, we litigate." We filed a civil suit that read like a menu of grievance against Cypress Trails HOA. Trespass, defamation, fraudulent misrepresentation, intentional interference with business. And we did it public. I launched a website, knowyourboundary.org, posted the documents, a submission form for neighbors, and within days dozens of people came forward, forged signatures, retroactive dues, threats, quiet lien notices slapped on deeds. This was not an isolated prank. It was a business model. Cypress Trails doubled down and then collapsed under its own motion. They staged a harassment video. 3 men in vests rehearsed lines on my pasture, telling each other to say he charged. I baited them with lights and a recording drone, and deputies arrested them for trespass and conspiracy when the script folded under the spotlight. That clip alone blew up the channel. HOA hires crisis actors reads like satire, until you watch it and see grown men fumbling a lie into evidence. We took the fight to court. Exhibits stacked like bricks. The forged map next to the county's original, the 1874 land patent, the 1982 easement termination, the internal emails from Karen and Merton, the thumb drive spreadsheet listing targeted properties. Deputies who'd been sent to my gate testified under oath about false 911 reports, staged provocations, the laminated badges and iron-on vests that weren't official at all. One by one, the pages told the same story. Manufactured consents, fake invoices, intimidation tactics that leaned into fear until homeowners paid up or sold out. Court was a strange kind of theater. Karen walked in like she was auditioning for a drama, heels clicking, lawyer clutched like a talisman. I sat in boots and a clean shirt, because I didn't need to posture. I had proof. The judge read and listened, and then, with a voice that felt like relief, he ruled. Malicious intent, coordinated defamation, trespass, fraud. The HOA was fined, ordered to refund illegally collected dues, and their forged maps purged from county records. Karen was referred for criminal prosecution for falsifying documents and conspiracy. Douglas Merton was arrested. A few board members resigned, some skipped town. The court reaffirmed my title, awarded damages, and gave me the right to restrict access to my property against any HOA member. When the verdict hit, it felt like a physical unclenching. The pasture seemed to exhale, gates recalibrated, the herd slowed, and the phones stopped ringing with anonymous threats. People started to drop by the feed store and shake my hand. Neighbors who'd been quiet for months now nodded and said, "Glad you kept your head." I put up a sign on the gate, "Private Ranch, Boundary Holds," and under it, a cheeky framed copy of the forged consent form with a red stamp. Tried to own me, forged this, got prosecuted. It was petty, sure, but pettily satisfying. I didn't stop at satisfaction. We used the settlement to fund a resource for homeowners, freehold defense, templates, pro bono legal help, a map verification portal, because the scariest part about what happened was how easy it was to manufacture consent if no one looked closely. That effort turned into law changes, property line integrity measures at the state level, requirements that charters disclose accurate boundary data, a public GIS portal, so anyone can check their deed in minutes. Small wins, but the sort that stop careers of comfortable bullies from starting. So here's the scene I want you to picture. A late summer evening, string lights above a patchwork crowd, a taco truck rolling off, a brass band for no reason at all, me standing barefoot by the gate with a glass of sweet tea, the herd milling in the background, and neighbors laughing like they mean it. It was quiet in the best way, like an aftershock that's actually relief. I stood there and thought about how fragile peace is, how a map and a story can threaten it, and how sometimes the only tool left is documentation and stubbornness. Now I'll leave you with the question that keeps landing in my inbox. When a community claims it's protecting shared values, who decides what those values are, and at what point does community protection become theft dressed in bylaws? If you were in my boots, deed in hand, family history behind you, and a glossy HOA newsletter telling a different story, would you sell to keep the peace, or would you fight until the boundary holds? Drop your stories. Tell me about the time someone tried to rewrite your lines, and if you've got an HOA horror or victory, share it, because the next person who reads your comment might find the courage to check their deed, dust off the old maps, and stand their ground.